Hello everyone, welcome back to our League of Legends DFS esports breakdown for August the 11th. Pretty interesting four-gamer here today. I think all four of these games could be going either way at first glance, so we'll hopefully have some fun talking about them and looking through them, and hopefully we can end up getting some nice picks out of it. So we'll start with the recap as we typically do. Pretty decent day overall. We went 3 for 4. OMG ended up getting the win over IG. Again, that was one I was pretty indecisive on, and then definitely panned out that way. OMG got the game 2 and 3 after they lost the first one to IG. Just could not quite pull it through in the end. Again, this is kind of one exactly I kind of went exactly as I anticipated. I thought OMG probably got the job done 2-1. Pretty close though. Went to game 3, didn't go our way. Kind of been the story of all of the split for us, but it is what it is, and it was close. I wasn't too greatly confident in IG, but at the end of the day, it's all you can do is try to get them some close ones. I do believe we were kind of on the right side of it, although it didn't go our way. And then EDG got the 2-0 over AL again. That one was a little oddly priced, I think. Kind of looking back, I definitely think EDG should have been a much bigger favorite, but nonetheless, still got that one pretty correct as well. Over in the LCK, we went pretty solid 2-0, but again, I mean, Genji was like a minus 5,000 or something over Fred Brion, so not a big deal there. But LSB ended up getting the 2-0 over T1. They were a pretty decently sized underdog, I think, plus 2 something, plus 230 or something, plus 220. So pretty solid stuff there from LSP over T1. Again, that was one we were pretty confused on, or at least I was pretty confused as to why T1 was such a sizable favorite on this one. It seems pretty clear that they've been in a pretty sizable slump, and LSP have been playing pretty well as of late, so definitely pretty confused on that price tag, and it ended up going our way. LSP got the 2-0 over T1. Pretty uninteresting, I guess, in a way. I felt really confident in that one and it ended up going our way, but overall the slate kind of went exactly as planned. I think a few of the I don't remember exactly the prop bets or kind of things that I had taken a note of, but I think IG OMG over 2.5 I think was one that we talked about, and that did end up going to game 3. LSB money line obviously ended up coming out plus 200 something. I don't remember anything else. We didn't touch Genji, Fred Brion at all, but we liked some of the stuff from EDG. So yeah, pretty decent stuff on the day overall. Hopefully we can look to continue that trend going forward. So have not the best games, I don't think, here. I guess pretty interesting. We'll talk about them. The first one up is Team WE versus FPX. I'm pretty intrigued to see the price on this one. I could definitely see WE's been playing a little bit better as of late. I think now that they've kind of stuck with this group of players for at least a little bit, we've seen some pretty interesting games from them. Obviously, they've had a tough set of games, I guess a couple. Mainly just the last time out versus BLG. They looked actually pretty impressive overall. Considering where BLG are, I think BLG are probably, around the, playoff area. I think BLG are very likely to get into the playoffs. So, WE having a close competitive match with them, I think, was pretty interesting. I'm excited. This is going to be a pretty odds-based one. I could definitely see it being relatively close, and I'm pretty interested to see this one. Obviously, they had a tough time, or WE have had a tough kind of couple games, like when they were playing in EDG. LNG, I think they were actually in a close game with LNG. They lost to LGD a little bit before then, but I guess that that was a little bit of time ago. So I think overall, just kind of how WE looked in their last series out versus BLG gave me some hope. And I don't know, the kind of problem here, I guess, a little bit is I typically don't like to look and put a lot of stock into one game sample or one series samples like that. I just think this could be a pretty decent spot to kind of buy in a little bit on a team that I think has been putting some nice things together. and it could be pretty interesting here. I think on the FPX side, they've just been wildly kind of up and down. We saw them get absolutely slaughtered by Weibo last time out. Granted, Weibo were a relatively decently sized favorite, overall, so it wasn't a huge shock. But I mean, they beat Ultra Prime, they lost to BLG, they lost to TT. I just think we've seen some kind of decently sized, like, ups and downs in a way from FPX, and it just would not shock me to see Team WE take this series, namely with how Summit has been playing and how poorly he is not on the NAR. And I just feel like overall we've not seen the greatest performance from FPX like we saw not too long ago from them. So for that reason, I'm pretty interested in the WE side. But again, this will be a pretty odds-based one. I don't know. I would have to imagine FPX are going to be like a minus 200 something. But I think overall I'm probably going to be looking at the WE side. I think overall almost all of their players have had some level of success. They just haven't quite put everything together. Specifically with Kadaya, I think Kadaya's been actually playing like a pretty decent. We definitely saw him perform decently not too long ago. I feel like he's been a game changer. I could definitely see him set up some nice fights and snowball the game in a way. I think WE could win this series probably in 3. I can't see. I don't know, with crazy things happening. Who knows? But I could definitely see this one being close, and I like taking the WE side on this one. I like this one. We'll look at the odds, but overall, pretty excited for this one. TT versus Ultra Prime. I think this one, in my opinion, is going to be a little bit more clear cut for me. Again, maybe it'll be an odds based thing. I don't have that quite as strong feeling on this one, but I definitely feel like TT should be a decently sized favorite here. I think they've been playing pretty strongly as of late. I think Ultra Prime, even with their swapping out of support of going into like me and you, just have not seen a lot of potential here from this Ultra Prime team. I just think with the inconsistencies that we've seen from pretty much everyone on this roster except for Elk, it's definitely pretty problematic. But I've been liking what I've seen a lot from pretty much everyone on TT. Hoya's been a little bit hit or miss, so I don't particularly love Hoya, although I do think he is the better option over Xiaoshang. I just think Beishuan, UCal have been performing very well as of late. They've definitely come into their own a little bit more. And obviously Kepler and Yao Yao, I think, have been performing pretty decently as well, coming up, kind of through the academy. I actually like this TT team a lot. I do think they are fighting for those playoff spots. TT going for a playoff spot here. Ultra Prime are out of it. FPX fighting for a playoff spot. WE are obviously out of it. They've yet to win a series 0-14. Definitely tough stuff from Team WE, but overall, we'll look at the odds here. FPX minus 750. That's pretty crazy. I definitely did not see that one coming. It does kind of make sense when you do think of WE 0-14, that kind of stuff. I just think that they've been pretty close with some of these teams, and I don't know. That one seemed a little crazy. I'm going to be honest. I do think FPX probably the better team. They're probably going to win this and get into those playoffs. However, I'm definitely willing to take this Team WE underdog shot here. I feel like they've been playing a little bit better as of late. I feel like FPX have been wildly up and down. And I'm willing definitely to take this WE shot at this price tag. TT minus 225. That is exactly kind of what I was anticipating. However, I think it definitely does kind of get in line with what I was thinking, and I can't really find a reason to look to go to the Ultra Prime side. We'll pull up the stats here. We do have a few games, a few options here. The one that does stand out, obviously, is going to be the DRX versus KT one. That's actually the second highest number on the slate at an average of 25.8 kills per game here. That obviously is pretty heavily influenced by the fact that both of these teams play at a relatively slow, I guess, kind of long game pace. Like, they're both averaging about 35 minutes at average game time, so that definitely does inflate that number a good bit. DRX at a 0.8 kills per minute with 35 minutes. That's a pretty insane mark for them, so that does kind of inflate it a little bit. But again, this is the kind of parentheses I have here is actually a little bit off. These are actually about 10 game samples now for all these teams. So in that aspect, I actually do like this this DRX KT game. Again, the numbers do feel a tad misleading. I don't think it is going to be quite up to that 25.8 kills per game mark. But I do think it is definitely a pretty solid option. I don't really love looking at a lot of the KDF Damwon one. My apologies. But WEFPX, TT Ultra Prime, both of these definitely very, very viable. We're averaging somewhere in the 25 kills per game for both of those series. And I think all three of these series definitely have a good amount of viability. Not just stats-wise, but I think when you look at the teams, look at the names, look at all this stuff, I definitely am fine going with a lot of the direction here. If I had to pick one series that does kind of stand out to me, I do think it would be WEFPX, despite TT Ultra Prime having the most, the highest number here. I do think that is going to be the one that I think probably has a little bit more upside. I could definitely see that one getting a little bit crazier than the others. But yeah, I'm definitely willing to take a small shot there with WE. We've just seen some weird things happening with FPX, and I know my boy Forrest Within has definitely had this experience with FPX in the past. For some reason, just this team and the way they do things is they just kind of always seem to bottle it and always seem to throw it at the finish line somehow. And I could definitely see that happening here. FPX kind of need a win to even have a chance to get into the playoffs here. And I could definitely see them. It would just be such an FPX thing for them to lose this 0-14 Team WE game to kind of put an end to their playoff hopes. It would just make such a big sense. And I definitely think with how WE have been improving, I could definitely see that happening here. So yeah, I like going WE. And then obviously I do think TT, the pressure of them getting to playoffs does have some level of concern, but I'm still fine going with them versus Ultra Prime, who I think I still get a little bit too much credit, I think, overall. And then obviously over in the LCK, we have Damwon minus 360 over KDF. That feels a little crazy just because Damwon have been floundering pretty hard, but obviously KDF have not been looking particularly great themselves. So it's definitely doesn't feel great. They've lost to DRX and Gen G, who are both obviously better than Damwon, I think, at the moment. KDF have beat Fredit Brion and Hanwha Life. Both of these in 3. Obviously, I think Hanwha and Fredit Brion are probably the bottom 2 teams. Maybe you could argue Nongshim's probably below Fredit Brion. I just have a hard time getting behind this series kind of at all. I do think there is probably the little bit more of a value side over on the KDF side. I could definitely see this one going 3, being a little bit close. I do think Damwon is a little bit overvalued here. I definitely do not think that they are a minus 360 favorite here. I just don't have enough confidence there's not particularly anything on the KDF side where I think, man, that they've been doing well or anything particularly great like that. So for that reason, I just do not love this series at all. Again, Damwon should not be this big of a favorite. It's probably going to be a pretty close series. I just don't have anything that I want to put my faith in on the other side with KDF. So overall, this is probably going to be one where I'm going to pass on. Yeah, I just don't love it too much. I wonder what the over 2.5. Over 2.5 at plus 125. That's not a terrible idea. But again, I could definitely just try to avoid this one. I don't really love too much about this series at all. DRX KT, this one's pretty interesting. So we do have KT at minus 121. I'm actually pretty surprised to see that KT is the favorite in this one. Granted, they've been playing pretty well as of late. Obviously, their run has been a little bit interesting. They had a close series with T1, obviously, pretty interesting. They took the upset win over Damwon that we were on. Then they had a close series with Fredit Brion, then a close series with Live Sandbox. they've had a pretty interesting run. We've definitely been on the right side of their past few games, that's for sure. We picked LSB against them. We picked KT with them versus Dom 1. So we've had a good read on this team overall. This is where it comes down to being interesting. So both of these teams lost in 3 to Live Sandbox. Pretty not terrible overall. DRX, they've beat KDF and beat Nongshim, but they lost to Genji and LSB. So they both have a pretty similar kind of track record here. When it comes to picking a team, I'm probably going to have to side with this KT side. I just think overall, I feel like DRX have still quite not got everything together. I'm still not been too impressed with their team, with the DRX side overall. I've been a little bit more confident over in the KT side. I think Rascal, Cuz, Aiming, and Life, they've all been playing well. I've not been too impressed with Vikla, and like personally. I do think Zeka is going to be better than Vikla. However, I just don't see too much from anywhere else on the, to make a difference here. Again, this one is probably one where I'm probably going to end up having to pass or not love too much, just because I do think it's going to be close. I think the numbers are a tad bit inflated. I don't know. This one's very close, 50-50 coin flip. I see it as exactly how the odds are. And I don't want to, kind of bet something just to bet it. I would like to have like a better feeling or a better edge or something on that. But, yeah, I'm just going to have to kind of, again, put a slight pass on this one. I don't mind, or I don't hate the KT side that much. I do think KT are probably going to win this one. I just, again, don't love the price or anything particularly great about this one. So, again, it's probably going to be a slight KT pick, but again, nothing too crazy in this one. So, yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up. So we'll go ahead and look at the picks and stuff and get out of here, or their players, and get out of here. So again, we'll go with Thunder Talk. Thunder Talk Gaming. We'll go with Team WE, and then we'll throw KT in there just because I know we're gonna have some interesting numbers from like Life and or aiming and Life mainly. Actually, Cuz is up there, 71% as well. So I definitely wouldn't be afraid necessarily to put KT in here, but at the same time, it's pretty interesting. We'll look at the numbers here, but we'll start at the we'll start at the groupings like we typically do. We have a strong start here for Team WE. Xing, Shanks, Kadaya, and View up here, 68%. Kadaya, Shanks, and Xing are all above 70. So pretty solid stuff from the Team WE core. Looks like Demon is all the way down at 54%. I mean, all the top winners are 55, 54, 58 there. Aiming's all the way down at 62%. His numbers were insane, kind of fell down a little bit, but granted, this is a pretty small sample we're looking at. Again, Vikla's numbers, again, not the best. So KT's numbers are not the greatest outside of Life and Cuz particularly. It looks like Aiming, Rascal, and Vikla are all a little bit lower, so that doesn't bode too greatly for these KT stacks. Overall, the TT groupings do look relatively decent. We do have Yao Yao 70, Yucal 69, Beishuan 68, Kepler at 66 participation. So pretty decent stuff over there for the TT side as well. So I definitely think this would primarily be a TT and Team WE focused, kind of slate for me. Just because we've talked about I think both of these LCK games probably go 3. I don't think the numbers are quite there to justify a 3-game series in the LCK from these teams. I just see a lot more action and intensity coming from the LPL games most likely. So I'm willing to look a lot more into trying to vary your stacks from Team WE and Team WE and TT, as opposed to trying to get like a KT roster stack or anything like that. I definitely do think you can keep some KT secondaries in there. However, again, when you're pairing up these carries, it doesn't bode particularly well. When we do look at like Aiming and Vikla's numbers being relatively low, I definitely do think you can still go to Aiming. Odds are if KT win, it's going to be playing pretty well. And obviously they do love to get him on the Zeri, which we know can pop off pretty hard. So I wouldn't be too opposed to getting him in there. However, again, it just doesn't feel the best. So if you do want to do like a TT and KT stack and try to get their jungler, like a jungler captain, like Beishuan captain with Cuz in there instead, that could definitely make some sense. But I'm willing to look a lot more at the TT and WE aspect of it from this one. So yeah, I think overall that will be it for me tonight. So best luck to you guys all tonight. I will see you guys all again tomorrow, hopefully at a similar time. And as always, leave me some questions if you guys have any. And thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys all again tomorrow.